My name is Bramer. I'm a pastor, lead creative worship and production teams at Southeast Church up in Louisville, Kentucky. And I hang with the production boys at Black Box. And I think if the creatives take a back seat in the church, then the work that God is doing in the world, in our nation, in our community, in our backyard takes a hit. And so creatives have to push, they have to lead, and they have to be the people ascribing in words and pictures and phrases and in art what the move of God is doing in the world. So much of how God speaks to the world is not through the black and white concreteness of everyday life, but it's images, phrases, pictures that move us forward or show us maybe a danger or a hole that we're about to fall in. And I think so much of how God's Spirit meets with us, speaks to us, directs us, guides us, and protects us is through the poets, through the songwriters, through people on the other side of a lens, through photography, through images and words that we wouldn't necessarily string together when we're working through the linear version of life. And so this allows us to step outside the bounds of the normal 9 to 5 and the normal grind and kind of align our hearts and our heads with a picture of God's kingdom and not of normal operating mode. I think most creatives in the church probably feel stressed and burnout and isolated. And because the industry's changing, their job's changing, there's a lot more insecurity, judgment, comparison, and I think people feel stretched. And that's one of the great things that SALT provides, I think, is an opportunity for those people to find camaraderie, to find a little bit of alignment, to find some people who get what they feel and get their head above the clouds enough to ingest something that can reignite maybe an ember that's left to fuel the next 3 months, 4 months, 18 months, and unlock that next prophetic word or vision or idea that God's set in their heart. The fuel for creative people is not the same kind of fuel for some people in the church. And so being around other people that light up the same way you light up, that are unlocked in the same way that you're unlocked, to see something that speaks to you in a way that you don't get to see every Sunday or every Wednesday night or every Tuesday morning or every Saturday night in the same ministry grind. These times and places to retreat, to step back, and to have a different set of eyes unlock all of those things. And being in a room with people who you know get what you get just makes you view everything a little bit different. And so what's the fuel for a creative? I think it's space. I think it's connection. I think it's investment. And I think it's speaking in a non-linear form, but it's speaking to a creative soul and a creative brain, not just more content and more information hitting them. Everything in our world is pushing creatives to be isolated and alone. And church staffs are getting harder and harder to have a team in the arts. And so coming and investing not just in a conference, but in an actual community of believers who believe that God is moving through these kind of creative ventures and creative efforts and artistic pursuits in the church is not just like needed. It's almost required these days to stay in ministry, to steward the anointing and call that God's put on your life, and also to get fresh wind and fresh fire for the ministry that's ahead. I'm on Instagram, and you can keep up with our creative team at church, sc.creative, or you can keep up with us and what we're doing outside the walls of our church with Black Box. Or SALT 2026. See you there.